Hi, and welcome to lesson number 3 in Module 1 Idea Development, where we will be discussing competition analysis and how you can analyze your competition to create a more competition based product, or how you can handle your competition. So, first off, do you know your market? And do you know your competition? And how you can beat it? As an entrepreneur and as a business owner, it is important to know your market and specifically your competition. And it is actually a good sign that you are in a market with a lot of competition, because that means that there are people making money in that specific niche. However, it is important to have in the back of your mind what companies and what solutions and products you compete with, so that you can differentiate from those products and that competition to appeal to a different type of customer, or be more appealing to a customer than your competition. So when you analyze the market, you want to analyze three things. You want to analyze your rivals, which is the people that you directly compete with. You want to analyze your substitutes, which is the people that solves the same job but with a different type of product. And then you also want to analyze your non-substitutes, which is people that you don't directly compete with, but people or solutions that slightly perform or solve the same type of job. So let's go down to the next slide. So when it comes to rivals, it is the direct competition that I mentioned. And you also substitute, which is the indirect competition, and non-substitutes, which is not the competition. And as you can see out from the icons, I want to try and visualize an example. So the job we want to solve here is fast travel over a long, from, let's say, from LA to New York. It's a long way, and there are a lot of miles to cover, and the best solution or the best type of vehicle to travel in would be by air, so planes. And a direct competition in this area would be airline companies, because they perform the same job. So let's say that the job or the solution would be travel by air. And helicopters are a lot slower, so they are not competition. But the substitutes would be cars, and actually also trains and motorbikes, because you will also be able to travel from LA to New York by car, but it would take a lot of longer time. It's also the same job, but in another way. You get from A to B, but it takes a lot longer time. So plane would be the best solution. Then you have the non-substitute, which is walking. Walking is not a good idea when you want to get from A to B, from LA to New York. But there are some people, or if job is or if walking is an alternative, that it will be an alternative based on what the goal with the travel would be. Because you also have to think about the goal. Why do I do what I do? So if I want to get from LA to New York as fast as possible, because I'm either going on a business trip, or I'm going to visit someone, or I'm actually going home. I want to get home fast, I want to get to the business meeting fast, or I want to visit someone as fast as possible. So that's why I travel by plane. But if I have a lot more time. I want to have an experience where I can stop by different places, visit different places, and so on. A car may be better, because then it would be a journey. But if I were on a pilgrimage, or if I were hiking, or if I wanted to test myself and go across the country, I would consider walking, because that's more of a long time or a long-term journey than car or airplane. So you want to consider first the job and also the goal of the entire thing that you want to do. And that's why cars is substitute to planes and walking is non-substitute to planes, because you want to get or travel from A to C or A to B as fast as possible and not something else. You don't want to go on a journey or any of that. So let's take an example. The job is thirst, and we're using Coca-Cola as an example, and we're analyzing the rival substitutes and non-substitutes for the Coca-Cola. And the direct rivals to Coca-Cola would be companies and drinks such as Pepsi, Sprite, Red Bull, and energy drinks in general, all because they have high sugar and are energetic, and they solve the job thirst for soft drinks. Then you have substitutes, which also solves the job thirst, but they're not soft drinks. They're other. So then you will have water, juice, milkshake, milk, and smoothie. All solve the job thirst, but they're not soft drinks. So they're not direct rivals to Coca-Cola. Then on the far right side you have non-substitutes, because thirst can be solved in various ways. Thirst or water or thirst can be solved through eating. So then you would have snacks, cookies, dinner, and oatmeal that all perform, or all of those alternatives makes you full. And when you get full, you're not necessarily as thirsty as you were prior to eating. So this is how you would lay out a competition analysis for your specific market or job. Because the job is important, and you have two layers. As I mentioned in lesson number 1, jobs, where we talked about the jobs to be done framework, you have to think about the job and what type of product that solves that specific job. And in this case, it is the thirst, not people are thirsty, that is the job, but the type of product would be soft drinks. And that's why water, juice, milkshake, milk, and smoothie is placed under substitutes. So the reason why you want to do this type of analysis is because all of the solutions or products and services that are listed is something Coca-Cola have to compete with when it comes to selling their products. So you could say that Coca-Cola competes with oatmeal, because both of them makes a person feel full. The same goes with Red Bull and different energy drinks, because you feel refreshed. And by analyzing and mapping out different rivals, substitutes, and non-substitutes, you will know how can I compete with them, how can I outperform them, and how can I market myself in a different way so that I appeal to all segments. Because Coca-Cola have marketing strategies that makes them appealing and interesting for both people or the customers of their rivals, their substitutes, and non-substitutes. So by doing this type of analysis, you will know and make an overview over what people should I keep an eye on, so that if they change something, related to how they market, how they approach selling to customers, and so on, you will know who to look to. So this is just an example for the job thirst. And job is essential because it will help you identify which rivals you have, which substitutes you have, and also non-substitutes. And it is essential to mapping out all of these, because then you will know who you compete with. And by analyzing your competition based on jobs, you'll have a better approach to finding what businesses, what products or services you actually compete with. Most people approach the competition analysis in a different way. They approach it by thinking about what format the solution comes in. And an example of this is websites. Websites is made in a lot of different ways, but they perform different type of job. Some websites work as a platform to find information. Some websites is a game. And some websites are made to capture leads. So the job that the website performs is different. And website development companies, or companies that provide these type of website services, they specialize in different types of jobs that the website perform. And if I were to create a website which was a game, then I don't want to map my rivals as general or the typical website designer. I want to map my rivals as people that create websites with games. Or if I were to create, or this is something we will be discussing later in the module about e-business creation, module 3, something called landing pages, which is a specific type of website where you capture leads, or you create an email list or contact list with people that are interested in what you have to provide. So if I want to compete in that market, I have to map out the people that actually provide this type of service for people and create websites that are made for this sole purpose. If I were to map out people that create websites for games, then those are not people that I compete with, because they specify in creating game websites or websites with games, online browser games, and not landing pages. So it is essential to thinking about the job when you think about rival substitutes and non-substitutes, because if you do not, you will miss out both on who you compete with, but you will also be off aim, off target. So that is why when approaching the competition analysis and analyzing your competition, you have to think about the job, what format the job is sold, and what niche the job is in. So the job would be, as I mentioned in the example that I discussed just now, the job is creating a landing page or a capture page that create a contact list for people that are interested. The niche would be website creation, and out from those I would map my rivals, substitutes and non-substitutes. So I want you, when you analyze your competition, I want you to analyze it in this way, because then you're more likely to be on target, analyzing the right competition, and not going off target. So that's it for this video and this lesson about competition analysis. And if you scroll down below this video, you will see a next lesson button. If you click that one, you will be directed to the next lesson, lesson number 4, which is about resource analysis, which is another analysis that you have to perform in order to know how you stand in the market and how good or performance that you can expect. And doing resource analysis is important because then you know how you stand compared to your competition. So scroll down below this video, click the next lesson button, and watch the next video, which is about resource analysis.